What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is the Rational Wrestling Mark, also known as the Rational Wrestling Viewer. Welcome back to the stream/podcast. And I'm here to talk to you guys about the return of Jeff Hardy and why that Jeff Hardy is irrelevant in AEW. These are just my opinions. Take it with a grain of salt. But I believe that ever since Jeff Hardy came to AEW last March, I believe, there is no real direction for him. Based off what I was seeing, he was just in a bunch of ladder matches. I believe he was involved with Sting and Darby Allin for a good while until he had a mishap, until he got back into, back to making mistakes and getting himself in trouble with the law again. And him getting in trouble with the law and, getting another DUI charge on his record. I mean, the guy's had a lot of chances. At some point, we have to hold him accountable because from what I saw, when it came down to his punishment, right? His whole slap on the wrist. That's kind of what it was. Because this was a huge offense. And, from what I'm hearing, he's not able to drive for 10 years. His license has been suspended for 10 years, whole decade. It's a long time to not drive. But you would expect him to get a larger punishment, maybe a couple years in the cell. But that was not the case because, if that was the case, we wouldn't see him back in AEW. But he came back last night in AEW and helped out his brother Matt. Beat down the Firm. I don't watch a whole lot of AEW, but I do pay attention to the angles that's going on right now from time to time. I don't care to watch the full-on show. I'll watch clips on YouTube and, kind of give my opinion based off what I see on the YouTube clips, right? But overall, aside from his own personal life, Jeff Hardy, I believe that there is no point in him being in AEW. Okay, we're going to have the Hardy Boyz reunite, take on the Firm, right? But in the long haul, what do you do with a guy like Jeff Hardy who's already up there in age? With Chris Jericho, it's different because he actually started AEW. He was their first world champion. He was there since the beginning, since AEW's inception. But Jeff Hardy, I believe he had enough left in the tank in WWE. There was a lot left for Jeff to do in WWE, in my opinion. My thoughts were always that he should have faced Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 38. And I believe that he should have retired in WWE, in my opinion, right? I think a match with Roman Reigns inside Hell in a Cell, because if you remember, his dream match was with Roman. And I believe he wanted to have a Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania in his last match. So I'm thinking okay, well, Roman's a Universal Champion. His dream match is with Roman. He's on a SmackDown brand at that time period. And Jeff is getting up there in age. I think it's time for Jeff to, wash off the face paint, hang up the boots and call it a day. I feel that the best retirement match for Jeff Hardy would have been against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania for the Universal Championship inside Hell in a Cell. That was my vision of, fantasy booking, if you will, of how I saw Jeff Hardy retiring. Because I believe that would have been a great way for him to retire. He gets to retire losing to Roman, who is the top guy, undisputedly, the top champion in wrestling. Inside Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania in the main event, that's the way to go out for Jeff Hardy. But then other things happened that took place. They wound up firing Jeff Hardy or letting him go. And he went to AEW. Now, on the surface, on paper, him going to AEW is not a bad deal, right? It's cool. It's like him showing up in Impact Wrestling back in 2010. But I believe in Impact Wrestling, Jeff Hardy had more of a spot. He had more relevance in Impact Wrestling. Judging from the talent pool that's in AEW right now, I don't think there is necessarily a spot for Jeff Hardy, in my opinion. I think him in AEW is irrelevant. It's not going to really mean much. Now, does he retire in AEW? I believe so. I think he's more likely to retire because I don't see Matt going back to the WWE, and I can't imagine both the Hardy Boyz not retiring within the same promotion. I mean, they started in the same promotion together in WWF at the time, but they're in AEW together. So I definitely see them retiring in AEW together. I don't know when that time will be. Time will tell. But what do you do with Jeff Hardy in AEW? Who does he face? Who does he feud with? Right? There's so much going on in AEW. It's you only have 2 hours of Dynamite, 1 hour Rampage, and you have a full stacked roster. I mean, the roster that AEW has it's binoculars. It's ridiculous, right? It's so stacked. You can argue that the talent, the roster in AEW it's overbearing, right? It's like a trash can that has too much trash in it, and at any point it's going to tip over and all the trash is just going to spill out, right? It's overfilled. The trash is overflow. That's kind of like with AEW's roster at the moment. It's like a trash can that just has too much trash in it, and it just needs to be taken out. I believe that Jeff Hardy AEW is just, I think long term it's just not going to work, because for how long are you going to run back the Hardy Boyz? How long are you going to milk the Hardy Boyz? How long are you going to keep running back this nostalgia act before it gets tired out? Now, I believe Jeff can, his ceiling in AEW is not going to be high. Of course it's not. You look at his age, look at what he's already done. I don't see a world champion. I don't see a world champion in Jeff Hardy in AEW. I don't see that happening at all. Because the question is, going forward, can Jeff even be trusted with a top spot in AEW based off his history, based off, the mistakes that he's made in the past? He's made too many mistakes when it comes to getting in trouble with the law. Can he be trusted? My answer is no, he can't. Because the track record, it's just too much. The track record is just too large. There's too much of a track record, too much of a pattern with Jeff. And we have seen it over and over again where he has relapsed. He's got himself in trouble with the law too many times to count. And that's why he could have never been pushed to that top spot. The company, WWE, they wanted to rely on him, but he just wasn't reliable. And when a talent is not reliable in a promotion, it's fair game to demote them, to put them back in the mid-card where they're most reliable. Because when you're in the mid-card as a wrestler, there is no expectations of you. Like when you're in that top spot, you're in that main event scene, you're like, your name, your face is plastered on the billboards as a top guy in wrestling. There is a lot of expectations that's involved when it comes to you carrying the company. That's why you see in WWE, Roman Reigns is so reliable. Why do you think Roman Reigns has been champion for over 900 days? He's closing in on 1,000 days because he's reliable, because his name value has so much increased. He has exceeded the expectations of being the top guy. When Roman Reigns is on your television screen, he's cutting a promo, you're more inclined to pay attention. You want to watch. You want to hear what he's going to say. You want to see who he's going to fight next. It's must-see TV. When a top guy is must-see TV, they are a top guy material. That's what makes a top guy is the fact that they are must-see TV. Why do you think you tune in to watch Stone Cold, Steve Austin back in the day? Because it was a must-see. He was must-see TV. Can you say that about Jeff Hardy? To a certain degree. But once again, he's not reliable. He is proven to be unreliable. Yes, he's the charismatic enigma, the daredevil of wrestling. He has been a highlight reel in wrestling for the past 2 decades. He's had amazing matches, amazing moments in ladder matches, revolutionized TLC. But he was never reliable as the guy. His ceiling in AEW will be the same as it always was in WWE. The difference is WWE gave him a shot and he backslided. They gave him a shot and he backslided. In AEW, Tony Khan knows I can only go so far with this guy. I mean, the Hardy Boyz, they've always been a cool tag team, but are they really, are they still popular to this day? Are they still over? I don't know. I mean, I have my doubts. But who does Jeff Hardy face? Who does Jeff Hardy feud with? Like, can AEW make you care about Jeff Hardy's run in AEW? The title of this video, the title of this stream, it's going to be what it is. It's my opinion at the end of the day. Jeff Hardy in AEW is irrelevant. Jeff Hardy is irrelevant in AEW. Until Tony Khan can prove me otherwise, that will remain my opinion. And like I said, the roster is so stacked. There's only so much TV time for so many wrestlers, right? And it's like, how do you make the fans care about all this talent that you have on your payroll, but they're only given so much TV time? Like, that's the hardest part, When the fans in general care about Jeff Hardy because he's already established, But in terms of a feud, of a program, are they willing to make you care about who Jeff Hardy is facing, because it's one thing for the fans to just be happy that he's back, happy to see that he's healthy, safe and sound. He looks good. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to just be happy that he's back, because that honeymoon phase will soon wear off, right? It's going to wear off. And when it wears off, it's like, okay, what's going to be next? Who does Jeff have a program with? Like, how do they make you care about Jeff Hardy and AEW? Until they can make you care, he's irrelevant at best in AEW. Until they can give us a program with Jeff Hardy and somebody else that makes you want to watch and tune in and invest your time into it, nobody's really going to care. They just care he's back. But after a while, it's going to get old. It's going to get tired out, and fans are no longer going to care. So, got to make fans care at the end of the day. You know, it's one thing he's back, but it's a whole nother thing to make people care about what they're doing on TV. So with that being said, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. This is the Rational Wrestling Mark, also known as the Rational Wrestling Viewer. And if you are new, hit that subscribe button, like for the algorithm, and I'm out. Y'all have a good day.